Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harachakwadash. Double honors been to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us this 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, hopeful, elect out there pushing out this word of all truth and sincerity to all you Achim. I do say Shalom. I'm the Achra. I'm coming in with a quick lesson, going into something the Spirit's been heavy on, and that being afflictions from Satan, man. Alright, Satan afflicting the elect. And I have personally experienced this, at the start of this month, right? Anxiety and things like that. But what's helped was reading the scriptures, TLDR, reading the scriptures, praying and fasting, right? Just maintaining a conviction in the Lord, watching the edifying videos, right? Studying, reading. At the onset of the anxiety I felt, which, I got diagnosed with it, I noticed that whenever I would play a video, like for example, a short from the Zakwana Mawanga bar, I would instantly feel relieved. Right, so that goes to show you how, this word be working, man. It's a healer, a comforter. And what's it called? Now, obviously, the anxiety, it doesn't, if I feel the attack coming, I'm able to quickly quell it. I'm able to quickly combat it, using the scriptures, prayer, tactics, breathing, just focus on breathing. I try and meditate on the kingdom. Right, an example, I like to imagine this background I have of, it's from the Manatazak Banyamyan channel. And when I first saw this, I was like, that's Yapa, man. I really want to, what's it called? Palace. I want one identical to this, Lord willing, sincerely speaking. So I try and think on this, like they got that saying in the world, hey, think happy thoughts or go to your safe place. Right? Our safe place is the kingdom. That reminds me of something. Colossians 3:2. Set your affection on things above, not things on the earth. And what's an example above? The kingdom to come. But I digress. Job, the first chapter, comes to mind. And why? Because in verse 1 it reads, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh and eschewed evil. And that's pronounced eschewed, if I'm correct. But it's deliberately avoid using, abstain from evil. Right? And Proverbs 8:13 makes the mention how a part of the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy. If I paraphrase that right, if that's verbatim or not, I'm not sure. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check if it's a verbatim. I checked the rest of the chapter. And the evil way and the forward mouth do I hate. Cancelled is my sound wisdom, my understanding, I have strength. Which Proverbs 8th chapter, it ties into wisdom, right? How it was poured forth into the creation, which you can also read about in the book of Sirach, the 1st chapter and the 24th chapter, and varying other precepts. I digress, however. Oh, my bad. I ended up leaving Job. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Right. So, Job was a righteous man, a just man, like the elect men. Starting out with the servants, the prophets, which, although, the men of the Lord, they've always held the flaws, right? Like, one example was Samson, which he's accounted of in Hebrews, I believe it was 11th chapter, talking about he's up there, as one of the men of faith. But you read his account, man. That dude was extremely flawed. He fell over his wits for a woman. Hey, but what happened in the end? He maintained his conviction. He repented. He prayed to the Lord, and then what's it called? That strength came back. That spiritual power came back, and he was able to topple that temple of Dagon and slay more people than he ever slew in his life. So he slew more people in his death than he did, beforehand. And one of his greatest feats was slaying those 1,000 Philistines, man. So he slew more than that in his death, So that's a feat right there. What's it called? All the men had flaws. Moses acting upon his own self. And that's why, what's it called? He was punished by not being able to, cross the land. But then again, what's it called? Jake wasn't gonna go in that land for 40 years because they all went off. It wouldn't be until their sons, grew up that they would be able to, get the land, and save Joshua, and I believe it was Caleb as well. Those were the only ones, that remained, and they became the leads, right? David, a man of the Most High, he had flaws. He committed adultery with Bathsheba, and then murder. He murdered, Bathsheba's, husband, Uriah, so-called the Hittite, but really he's an Israelite. He was just geographically living in that land, what's it called? Yeah, so that was worthy of death. He transgressed a lot. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery. Hey, but the Lord still showed him grace. And ultimately, though, the Lord did, give some judgment. He ended up taking away the child that came before Solomon. Right? Going to show you how the Lord's not a respecter of persons, but he does have grace with his men, his elect. Or, elect in general, even with the sisters. Right? Other examples. So they do have their flaws, and yet are they honorable men, right? Honorable, righteous men. Wasn't it David? I think it was in the Psalms that made the mention, "Take not thy Holy Spirit away from me. Take not thy Ruach HaKodesh away from me." And that's one thing, the current prophets on the scene always exclaim, "Hey, Lord, we'll never lose that spirit." And I say that as well for myself. Because we know what it's like to not have the spirit, man. And it's a terrible feeling. But when you have, I don't want to ramble on for too long, but when you have the spirit, man, you feel like you're on a different level, man. It's like, I don't mean to ramble on for too long. I just realized that. Yeah. And this dude, Job, he had. He was rich. He had many things. But anyways, what's it called? I'm gonna read from there. Verse 5, and it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed Yahweh in their hearts." Thus they Job continually. So this guy, he was on point, man. He was on top of his shite. Discipline in the faith, man. Now there was a day when the sons of God, sons of Yahweh, those being the angels, because, although what's it called, one of the classifications of the Israelites is the sons of God. In this case, however, in this context, it pertains to the angels, came to present themselves before the Lord Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. Which, that that wacky tacky ass doctrine talking about how he somehow, sneaked his way into heaven. How do you sneak your way, into heaven, sneaking your way past, intelligent angels and things like that? It makes no sense. It makes no sense, because he's one of them. That doctrine is completely, ridiculous, and I'm dumbfounded. I am dumbfounded. What does that word even mean? That came to mind. Really astonished. I'm greatly astonished. Amazed people are able to, misinterpret and break it down the wrong way. Satan is a son of the Lord, man. He's not a rebel. He's not cast away in some mystical underrealm, in a place the Lord apparently designated to judge, to punish all spirits that sin to one lifetime, which completely contradicts the scriptures of the Lord being a merciful power. Because although Most High sees the heathen as nothing, and he considers reprobate Jake as dross, something to be destroyed, he still shows mercy. He has a balance. So yeah, best believe on our left hand side. Hey, that's Isaiah 45. I think it was Isaiah 45, 17 or 7. Yeah, I from the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. While the Lord Yahweh do all these things. So best believe on the left hand side that being evil, whereas on the right hand side that being righteous. But on the left hand side, Satan's also among them, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord. It was called prepare an answer for every question, right? Hey, this dude was on top. This dude's on top of. He's on point, man. Right? He is in a perfected body. He's more righteous than we technically. Yeah, our righteousness are as filthy rags in this bodies, man. So it said, from going to and fro on the earth and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth Yahweh, and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Like vanity, like for nothing. Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he had on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And why? Because, he's a tempter. He was a tempter that appeared to Yahweh Shai. Which one of the Aki ones brought up a point in an old lesson that, although left-hand angels are a pain in the fucking arse, man. You get pissed off, man. I get pissed off at them. Hey, at the end of the day, deep down, besides their whole designated point of afflicting, tormenting, trying the elect, which they want you to succeed. One of the academic point, perspective going to how ultimately they want to see what you about. They want to see you, be for the Lord. You don't want to. They don't want you to entertain them. To go off and be this wicked ass nigga, man. No. Ultimately, they want you to do good. But yeah, they really a pain in the butt. I don't know how to like. I can't like them. I can't like them demons, man. I don't know. What's it called? Lord willing, man. We for them to see what we about. Lord willing, we maintain our conviction in the Lord. Why? Because it made the mention now. Put forth thy now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. Job never cursed the Lord to his face, man. Job never did that. What's it called? His wife. However, Job's always like, curse Yahweh and die. And what's it called? That ain't happened. He never did that. He never cursed the Lord's face, and we shouldn't do either. We shouldn't renounce the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. See, what's it called? And one of the I recently did a lesson, covering which the Spirit's been heavy on these afflictions, right? From Satan. And one of the I made the mention how the Lord's allowing that to happen. Right? He allowed it to happen with Job. He's allowing it to happen. Why? Because the Lord also wants to, see what you're about. Try you. The Lord tries, man. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And then, his children and animals die. And look what he says. Look what he says. And then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And he worshipped, man. He worshipped. You know, that's a value. That's a core value right there. You know, here it is. You know, I'm being afflicted right now. You know, mentally, what's it called? And now physically, man. You know, but hey, what I do, I prayed, started doing the lesson. You know, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. And the Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Right, and I was just reading that precept the other night. You know, for a different reason. Yeah, so the Lord gives and takes again. You know, He's a power of balance. He kills, He makes alive. You know, so on and so forth. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged Yahweh foolishly. Right, he did not charge Him foolishly. You know, he respected the Lord. What's it called? I'll come back to this. What's it called? Shabba with me, Akim. Alright, I'm gonna pull out. I'll pull out this one. So run out the second chapter first. And it reads in verse 1, My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And that word temptation, the desire to do something, especially something wrong or unwise. Urge, itch, impulse, inclination. Right, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, make not haste in time of trouble. Right, so, you know, the Akim was going into how Satan has been ramping up. You know, he's been amping up his attacks, you know, which demon means intelligence, you know, and what they do, if I recall, if I'm correct on this, they, you know, analyze you, and then they, you know, use they use what they can against you, man. Actually, that reminds me of another precept, you know, I made the mention of tactic, they made the mention of tactic. Wow. Devious or cunning stratagems employed in manipulating and persuading someone to do what one wants. Right, stand against the was. Right. So, you know, a part of the anxiety would have to be certain fears, which I know we're not supposed to, you know, we're supposed to be of a sound mind. So I've been trying to, you know, quell that. You know, this damn devil, however, maybe, dispatching them left-hand angels to put these thoughts in me. Hey, but I know it's just Satan being Satan, man. You know. So you know, I acknowledge it. You know, you pray. You know, you want to put on the horn of how they may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. You know, again, what's it called? Devious or cunning stratagems employed in manipulating and persuading. Yeah, and what's it called? I can always talk about that one movie. I forget the movie's name, Inferno or something like that. I gotta watch it, man. I gotta watch it. And basically, these demons, man, they jump on people. They you know, implant these thoughts, and it festers in them, and then they're able to manipulate them, persuade them to do, you know, what they want. You know, becoming a freaking vessel. You know, a toy. But you know, we being in this truth, you know, having spiritual eyes, man, we're able to see that it's just Satan messing with us. And what we gotta do is, you know, pray. Endure. Right? You know, hockey may go, you know, to the physician and things like that. You know, which is alright, you know, the Lord set up the physician for our sake, right? But you know, one thing, you know, this is in my humble opinion, and I speak to myself this first and foremost, we gotta rely on the Lord first and foremost. Right? He said that heart around, he constantly doing, made not haste in time of trouble, cleave unto him. You gotta cleave unto the Lord, man. And the pouring out away at thou mayest be increased at the last end. And whatsoever is bound upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient with thy change to a low state. That reminds me of this precept, which I'm glad I pulled it out. And it was with the Apostle Paul. And they made the mention how, in verse 7, and lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, which, if I recall correctly, what do you want?
The soap that we use for the cats to wash them, can dogs also use it?
No. what's it called? And not Buffett. Not bad. What's it called? What was that? Yeah. And in this case, however, it means to harass, right? Well, what does it mean to harass? Subject to aggressive pressure or intimidation and repeated small-scale attacks on an enemy, right? So if you get small-scale attacks, man, like you may go through an anxiety attack or things like that. You know, it could be physical as well. You know, economical, like financial. It could be mental. I know I can. You know, we're speaking on the perspective of mental and the lessons, man. And what's it called? That's a big thing too. Hey, but yeah, you know, I don't want to. I want to be respectful, right? I don't want to, you know, cause any problems. But yeah, one of the Yakim that had a stroke, man. Which I've been praying for them. You know, Lord willing, they get you know, better. I've been watching the videos too. You know, which he seems to be doing fine. So I can't speak right now. What was it called? That's a physical affliction right there. Hey, but what's it called? He maintains conviction, man. Hey, because you know, Job was also physically afflicted. You know, what's it called? Sword bullets from the sole of his foot into his crown. God damn, yeah. And not once did he what's it called? Not curse the Lord. Right. So like I accidentally removed 2 Corinthians. Now I'll pull up the NIV. Was that what I was reading? No, I think I had the KJV. Yeah, what was it called? Yeah, verse 7. Or because of these surpassing great revelations, therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. Yeah, that's a pretty, you know, graphic word, if you will. Torment. Right, severe physical, mental suffering, right, agony. And what's it called? In that we must, you know, be patient, you know, endure, right? Be patiently suffer, you know, and cast our burdens on the Lord. Right, but hey, even then, you know, well, that may not be the case, right? Like it says right here, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more loudly about my weakness, so that Mashiach's power may rest on me. And that is why for Mashiach said, light in weaknesses, and insults and hardships and persecutions and difficulties, for when I am weak, then I am strong. So we should really take it cheerfully. Is that what yeah. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Be patient with our change to a low state. But you know, even that we gotta no matter what, hey, cast burdens, man. Psalms 55:22, cast thy burden upon the Lord. Yahweh, when he shall sustain thee, he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Right, and that reminds me of another precept, if I can remember correctly. Right, 1 Corinthians 10:13. There hath no temptation overtaking you, but it is common to man. Right, so the afflictions we go through, they went through, man. You know? Hey, so you can feel reassured, and I know I feel comforted, and I can have even, you know, verbally expressed it too, that they feel comforted, knowing that we go through the same shite. You know, so it ain't just you, it ain't just me, you know, going through one individual thing and the Lord apparently abandoned you. You know, which this whole month has been hell for me. Right? Mental and not physical affliction. And then that was, you know, just before this lesson, like almost an hour ago now, here I was, what's it called, questioning, is the Lord even with me? Is the Lord even dealing with me here? I wasn't no praying and fasting and doing all these things. And it feels like the Lord ain't saved yet. Hey, but guess what I saw, man? Guess what I saw? I saw something I pop. I'm not sure if it loaded. That's not it. It's not there. It was, it hasn't synced yet. It's on my phone. It's 10:44. Right, so the TV was on a football game, and I look up, and it's on a 10-minute and 44-second mark, or whatever that number represents. And I took a photo of it, and I was like, damn, that was the Lord, man, and that was a sign. That was literally a spiritual sign from on high. Call halal Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Alright, to maintain my conviction. There's no temptation taking you, but so just coming to me. So we going through the same things, Just because you adjust, man, don't mean the Lord ain't gonna, the Lord's not a respecter of person, right? He's not gonna not try you. He's gonna try the way he did Job. Right? And what's it called? The scriptures written aforetime was written for our learning, and also for inspiration, for reproof, for instruction. Right? So you're thinking, Lord ain't dealing with you. You read Job, and then you realize, oh yeah, what's it called? That just man got punished. And what's it called? That's not a proper precept to use. I was thinking about a precept to use, but nah, that's not. Doesn't really match the theme. So anyways, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. Right? What's it called? Hey, the Lord knows our hearts. The scripture's going to the Lord knows our hearts. So He knows what level we are. He knows how much we can endure, and he puts it in as much as to endure what we can. So going back to Job, the Lord allowing Satan to do all that stuff. Job was he was in a different level. He was like on it's like one of those mobile game ads. Level 0, level 1 crook, level 100 mafia boss. Job was level 100 mafia boss. and being level 100 mafia boss, best believe he was able to endure all that crap. His children died. He lost his what's it called, possessions. He got sore stricken physically. His wife pretty much rebelled against him by saying, "Curse the Lord and die." And here it is. A woman is supposed to be an helpmate, a pillar of rest, and she was not that in that state of affliction in that time period, man. Hey, but what's it called? That goes to show you that, and he did not sin. He did not rebuke the Lord. It's like he did not curse the Lord. So that goes to show you that dude was able to, or that man was able to endure that much stuff. I was faithful who would not suffer you to be tempted above that you're able. So he was able to, endure all that like nothing. He took it like a champ. Man. But with the temptation, also make a way to escape that you may be able to bear it. Right? And that's why I'm gonna go back to this one. Right? That's why he should never suffer the righteous to be moved. Right? He makes a way to escape as well. And we can't. We don't want to be moved, man. That should be the goal. I told myself that first and foremost, begins again. And make not haste in time of trouble, cleave unto him and depart not away. You don't want to go, right side, left side. You want to keep walking straight. You want to be as straight as an arrow. Right? Whatever is brought upon thee, cheerfully be patient. When thou art changed to a low state. That reminds me of another precept in Job. James, I think it was. James the 5th chapter. Was it James the 5th chapter? Okay, should have been with me. Okay. Yeah, what's it called? James 5:10, take my brethren the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord for an example of suffering, affliction, and patience. You'll be counted them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and tender mercy. Right? The Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. So here is this super evil, terrible, scary God by the name of Yahweh, who's son is Yahweh Shai, who's the express image of him. And if you were to speak to Yahweh Shai in person, man, you'd probably get rebuked, man. And what's it called? and he's the creator of the angels, right? And what's it called? There's a scripture, I think it was in Judges, I think it was the 13th chapter, so it made the mention how a terrible thing to look at an angel, right? What was it called? How much more the Lord, man? Yeah, that'd be immensely terrible. Scary as hell. Right, so here it is, this super, terrible, scary, creator of the heavens and of the heavens in general. What's it called? The universe, right? He can be. Not only can he be evil, he could also be very pitiful and tender mercy, and that goes to show you a balance. And that's what the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we're in his good graces. And there's another piece that goes into how, the Lord's giving me grace, but don't think it, I forget the precept on those lines of, don't think that the Lord's gonna, make it easy for you. Eventually I'll find that precept. Right, but what's it called? The word of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and Lord, we maintain this good grace, man. Hey, what's it called? The sure mercies of David and things like that. Right. So what's it called? Is any? Oh yeah, look at that. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray, right? Is any married? Let him sing psalms. And it'd be like that, man. It'd be like that. What's it called? You afflicted. You out here praying. Pouring out your heart out. And then you in the spirits all of a sudden. You out here singing songs. You out here what's it called? Talking about the Lord 24/7. You out here talking about some swing low, sweet chariot. What's it called? I was just doing that today. And I go outside, for not, I just randomly stare at the sky, like sweet low, swing low, sweet chariot, with the chariots, with the Marakabi, man. And the chariots, man, that has a sign of deliverance, right? That's the physical deliverance, man. Right? Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church. Let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Right. And guess what? Look at this. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another. Yeah, we be praying for one another, man. And that helps a lot, man. You be noticing, you feeling better, when the eye can pray for you. They may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. True facts. What's it called? The Most High hears the praise of the righteous, not the sinners, man. So you got all these wacky tacky Christians and whatnot talking about, we pray to the Lord and my life is good. Well, the scriptures talk about, say otherwise. First of all, you don't know a goddamn thing about the Lord. Second of all, you ain't got the true name, it's to call upon him by. Third of all, what's it called? You talking about it's like you vain religious, right? You wicked. So we talking about what's it called? Lord hears your prayers. He ain't hear no prayer. And fourth of all, or is that fifth? I'm not sure. What's it called? Whatever. The point is, man. What's it called? I lost my train of thought. It's like there's a distraction out there. Alright, what's it called? God damn it. Damn distractions, man. Oh yeah, so like I remember now. The Most High, what's it called? He ain't about easy. He what's it called? Yahweh Shai, what's it called? He ain't about what's it called, an easy path. Now what's it called? Lord be talking about how it's gonna be hard. Right? Again, what's it called? If thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation. It ain't saying if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare for comfort. I mean, we got comfort, right? The scriptures are our comfort. But anytime I know what's it called, easy arse life, man. What's it called, where you eat pork and then you pray for it and then suddenly you're forgiven for it. Like, no, that's not how it works, man. Or that you won't get afflicted. Hey, because Job got afflicted. He was a just man. All right, so go back to this one. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. This is one of my new favorite precepts now. And he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. And the Most High is not meant that he should lie. So if he says so, it shall come to pass. And ultimately, though divinely inspired men, the servants, the prophets, wrote these things, we know it is the Lord who directed the steps. Meaning, the Lord really wrote this thing, man. That's his thing. Alright, what's it called? Yeah, this pretty good. My first Peter 5 and 8. I'll pull it out. Actually, I'll go, verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Yeah. You know, that's a beautiful thing, man. You know, what's it called? It's a constant thing where, you know, Jake be like, the Lord don't love me. What's it called? But then you read, you know, for example, Malachi, you know, I think it was one of the two made the mention out, you know, Jacob have I loved. And things like that, man. And you're like, oh, yeah, the Lord loves us. Well, that's crazy. Because they don't feel like it, but, you know, hey, he careth for you. Write the things that are there, for they are faithful and true. You know, this word is faithful and true. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, has a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. But you can apply that to Esau. You could also apply it to Satan, the spiritual demon, you know, spiritual counterpart, you know, Satan. They both devils, man. The devil means, you know, yeah, it doesn't mean adversary. It means a rival. Yeah, what's it called? I'm not gonna find it. But yeah, you look into the definition of it. It means yeah, an adversary, rival, foe, opponent, enemy. And, you know, Esau. That's like Esau also be messing with us, man. You know, goddamn devil. And this verse applies to him as much as, you know, it does to Satan, man. You know, he out here, what's it called, doing some wicked ass things, you know, deceiving our people, and our people fall, you know, victim of it. And then what's it called? He be slaying them, and his whole point is what's it called? Slay Jake. But, you know, going back to, you know, spiritual demon Satan. You know, he don't want you to. Like one of the Akim made the mention, you know, Zenabia is that he wants you to be for the Lord. You know, but another one of the Akim, you know, in a recent video made the mention how he don't want you to succeed. Right, because, you know, as his mission, he makes it the mission for you not to succeed. Although deep down, you know, he wants you to be right, because he wants you to succeed, because he wants you to know that you're for the Lord. That's one of the Akim part out in a different lesson. What's it called? Oh, I was thinking about something right now. Alright, what's it called? We gotta be sober, be vigilant, and, you know, with that we gotta pray, man. Whom is steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Yep, they're in the world. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by how much that they have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you, to me glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Right. Which, you know, Yahweh he suffered, so obviously we finna suffer too. And there's that priest that comes to mind, going how the servant is not above his master, roughly paraphrase. And what's it called? Which, if Master Yahweh Shai, you know, what's it called? And he was angsty that night, you know, that he was to get persecuted. He was like, hey, what's it called? Take this cup away from me, Lord. What's it called? I don't want to get, you know, taken. Hey, but in the end, you know, he girded up the loins of his mind, and what's it called? He endured. He literally got chastised, man. Hey, what's it called? His visage was more marred than his visage was marred. That priest came to mind. Isaiah 52:14, just as many as were astonished at and appalled at you, yeah, you know, astonished and appalled at Jake's, you know, the charges against Jake. Hold up. Why does it take forever? Alright. The flip? Okay. His visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. It was like Yahweh Shai. He was striped, man. He was stricken. He was stricken. And keep in mind, this is the sinless man. This was a sinless man. He literally endured the tempter, which was Satan himself, talking about what's it called? You know, fall Fall from this sight, and the angels that was it called? Take charge of thee, turn this rock into stone. This and that third. Bow down to me, I'll give you the kingdom. I'll give you kingdom, all kingdoms, man. Hey, Yahweh shall rebuke them with the scriptures on each point. And guess what? Guess what? In the end, Yahweh shall endured, and in the end, he was given, what's it called? Power over the earth. So the same reward that Satan, promised Yahweh Shai if he bowed down. Hey, Yahweh Shai got that by not bowing down. And Yahweh Shai, he was in a vulnerable stage. Hey, but see the power of fasting, man, it get you in the right spirit. Yeah, in the right spirit, prayer and fast. That's what the Akim always, advocate for. And I prayed and fast, man. Oh boy, man. I'm on a different level right now. I feel like a kid. Not mentally, but I'm talking about what's it called? In good spirits. Oh yeah. And more so now, what's it called? Reading these scripts. Good spirits. Right? Right, Philippians 4:6, be careful for nothing. Right, which I read different translations, it makes the mention, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made unto Yahweh. Right, what's it called? And the peace of Yahweh, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Yahweh. How much Yahweh Shai? Right, what's it called? I'm gonna pull out. This is the first piece that came to mind when I was getting the scriptures out. This is the book of Matthew, right, the 17th chapter. And I want to pull out, what's it called? At verse 20. No, actually, what's it called? I want to pull out verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to the disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Yahweh answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him thither to me. And Yahweh rebuked the devil, and departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. What's it called? That devil, that demon, he was stubborn one. He didn't want to move. And then came the disciples of Yahweh poor and said, why could we cast him out? Yahweh said unto them, because of your unbelief, verily I say unto you, ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed. You shall say unto this mountain, remove hence beyond their place, and they shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not by prayer and fasting. Right, what's it called? Speaking to one of the Akim who also suffered from anxiety attacks. He said he don't have anymore. Have them anymore. He don't have them anymore. Salakia. But he was making the mention now. He was praying and fasting. Fasted for 3 days, and he was as fly as a kite. Is that the proper name? Fly as a kite. And here I was, man. Doing the same thing. Oh boy. Oh, high as a kite, high as a kite means Oh no, never mind. No. It's like that's not what I meant. That is not what I meant. Jeez. Okay, so here, collected idioms. That act, man, that act, he was as cool as a cucumber. Hell, I feel as cool as a cucumber right now, man. Shoot. Very calm, relaxed, not nervous or. Even at a tough spot. We're not supposed to be working in a tough spot. I tell myself that first and foremost. I just want to do a short lesson. What was that fine? Right? So, yeah, I got everything. Okay. It was that fine lesson. So that's why I do say shalom.